You ever see someone get launched 3 feet through the air from touching a fence? Because I did, and I got it all on camera. Hi, I'm Leo Hammond, and this is the story of how my 74-year-old grandpa, a retired military engineer turned full-time gardener, took down the most corrupt HOA president our town had ever seen with a homemade electric fence and a whole lot of patience. It all started in a quiet suburb outside Dallas, a place called Rockwood Bluffs. Grandpa Joe had lived in his corner lot home for over 40 years. Way before there was even talk of an HOA. The neighborhood used to be modest, full of families and barbecue smoke. But over the years, new money rolled in, and so did the rule-strict ones. Suddenly, hedges had height limits. Mailboxes had to be beige. And if your grass grew half an inch too tall, boom, fine. Grandpa Joe, being the meticulous guy he is, kept his garden looking like something out of a botanical magazine. But that wasn't enough for the new HOA president, Candace Whitmore. Candace wasn't just a stickler for rules, she was weaponizing them. After Grandpa refused to sell his property to a developer she was secretly tied to, the fines started pouring in. One week it was unauthorized tulips. Next, it was a non-regulation birdbath. She even cited him for having a stone bench his late wife gave him 30 years ago. Grandpa was furious but calm. The kind of calm that tells you he's up to something. When I dropped by one Sunday, he showed me footage from his new security cams. There was Candace, in her designer shades, trespassing into his backyard, snapping pictures, bending flower stems, clearly trying to fabricate violations. Fourth time this week. He muttered, "She thinks I'm not watching." Turns out, Joe wasn't just watching. He was building. That weekend, I helped him install what he called a deterrent system. It looked like an ordinary fence, freshly painted. Nothing suspicious. But under the surface, he wired it with a low-voltage electric current 54 volts. Perfectly legal. Just enough to say, "Hey, maybe don't touch this." Warning signs were posted clearly. The whole thing was by the book. Grandpa even filed the permits. Candace, of course, didn't care. She declared his fence a hostile structure and appointed a so-called HOA compliance officer named Kyle Bennett, a new resident who used to work mall security and had a clipboard fetish. Kyle was given full authority to perform pop-up inspections on properties flagged for repeated violations. You can guess who was top of the list. 2 days later, while Grandpa was out playing chess at the senior center, Kyle showed up. My phone buzzed with a security alert. I tuned in just in time to watch Kyle approach the locked back gate, ignore the massive red warning signs, and place a step stool against the fence. He climbed up, reached for the top. Zap! It was like watching a cartoon. He flew backward, landed flat on the lawn, scrambled to his feet, and ran like his clipboard was on fire. Left it behind too. 30 minutes later, the cops showed up. Officer Brooks, who had clearly drawn the short straw, knocked on Grandpa's door. Grandpa returned from his chess game, coffee in hand, totally unbothered. "Yes, officer." Brooks explained the situation. Kyle claimed he was conducting HOA business and had been assaulted. Grandpa calmly handed him the permits, showed the footage, pointed to the warning signs. "That man ignored legal signage and trespassed on my property," Joe said. "And I'm not in the HOA. My house predates it. Legacy exemption." Brooks sighed, looked over everything, and left. No charges. Nothing illegal. But that was just the beginning. Candace went ballistic. She called an emergency board meeting and slapped Grandpa with a $10,000 fine for endangering HOA personnel. Grandpa added the letter to his growing collection of bogus citations. My wife, Natalie, who happens to be a civil rights attorney, stepped in. She filed a countersuit against Candace for harassment, trespassing, and abuse of HOA power. Turns out, Candace had done this befarito at least 4 other elderly residents who later sold their homes for suspiciously low prices to the same developer she was connected to. The courtroom showdown was electric, pun intended. Natalie played security footage, presented documents showing Grandpa's exemption, and even called on a whistleblower, Candace's own husband, Mark. He admitted under oath that Candace had been orchestrating a scheme to devalue properties and flip them for profit. The judge was not amused. Candace was fined $75,000, removed as HOA president, and referred for criminal investigation. The HOA board was restructured. Transparency policies were put in place. Grandpa was offered a seat on the new board. He politely declined. "I just want to grow my tomatoes in peace," he said. Now, his garden is thriving. His bench has a fresh coat of varnish. And the electric fence? Still there. Still legal. Still humming. So what do you think? Was Grandpa Joe justified in electrifying his fence? Or did things go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where the little guy stands tall. Sometimes, all it takes to fix a rotten system is one stubborn old man with a soldering iron and a good heart. See you in the next one.